Hi, today I am going to talk about salmon, how the life cycle goes, where they need to go through during this journey, especially when they hit the calling for spawning to produce their next generation. There are 7 species of Pacific salmon and only 1 species of Atlantic salmon. There are other species that are grouped under the same family but they are classified as trout, and I will not be talking about in this article. The biggest species is Chinook, also known as king salmon. They can get up to 1.5 meter long and weigh 57 kg. The smallest species is pink or humpback salmon, up to 0.8 meter long and weigh 5.4 kg. Salmon are enormous creatures. They are born in fresh water and live their mature life exploring the vast ocean. And when the call for spawning dawns upon them, their migration journey back to the freshwater streams where they came from, which is also known as salmon runs, begins. Salmon use their olfactory senses to help them find their way back to their home stream. Some species have the ability to sense Earth's magnetic field to help them find a way back. Salmon will stay at the blackish water when the ocean and river meet for a period of time to acclimate their osmoregulatory function. Mature salmon live their life in the ocean, where the salt level in the surrounding water is higher than those in their body fluid, meaning they are constantly losing water and salt loading into them. When they are making their migration journey back to freshwater, they need to change their physiological adaptation to survive in the new habitats where they will be losing salt and water loading into their body. Salmon need to maintain a certain level of salt in their body fluid to maintain within the homeostatic limit. In the ocean salt level, the water is higher than inside the body. Salmon is constantly taking in high influx of salt from its surroundings. Naturally, it will need to extrude out the excess salt out from its body, and to make it even more difficult, salmon is also constantly losing body water to the surrounding, so it need to replenish the lost water in order to stay within the homeostatic limit. So how does salmon overcome this challenge? Salmon in the ocean drinks lots of water to offset the dehydrating effects throughout the day. Irony enough, it does seem natural for fishes to drink water. However, when in freshwater, salmon do not drink water. This actually also applies to species of the freshwater fishes. So drinking of lots of seawater, salmon need other methods to extrude out the excess salt. Salmon's kidneys produce less amount of urine and are more concentrated as compared to the two in freshwater habitats where it produces more dilute urine. The final method that salmon adopt is that there is a special enzyme in their gill cell that acts as a pump to actively transport salt in and out of the body. In the ocean, this pump this enzyme pumps salt out of the salmon bloods back into ocean, thereby safely maintaining the salt level in their body from going too high. In freshwater, the same pump the same enzyme pumps out the water into the salmon blood and safely maintains the salt level in their body from going too low. Salmon also undergo physical and color transformation during this migration journey. Sockeye, king, and silver salmon, for example, will change from a silvery grayish color to maroon or red. The jaws of male salmon will also change to a hook shape, which is known as a kite. Pink and sockeye males will also develop a defined hump on their back. These are caused by hormonal changes, and it is also a signal where they are ready to mate. Swimming upstream is no easy matter. One of the interesting views during this journey is you see salmon jumping out of the water to reach the top of the fall. Sometimes the falls is within their reach and they can easily continue moving upstream. However, sometimes they will reach fall that is not so easy to jump over, and despite failure, they will try multiple attempts. Sources mention that only roughly about 7% of the migrating salmon manage to overcome this high fall and continue upstream. The rest may be forced to spawn at the bottom of the fall. Another view during this migration is bass coming to the streams to feast on salmon. Salmon runs occurs during the autumn period, and this salmon feast for the bass is their most important feast as they prepare for the upcoming winter. Bass preparing for hibernation tend to preferentially consume the more nutrient and energy-rich salmon rolls and brains over the actual flesh, and are estimated to discard up to half the salmon they harvested uneaten on the forest floor. Each bear can eat up to 25 salmons per day. Once the salmon reach the spawning ground, usually at the reef, where the water is turbulent and fast flowing, the female salmon will start to prepare the spawning nest, which is called rate. She will leave gravels with sweeping motion of her tail to create a shallow depression on the stream bed, and the lifted gravel will be swept downstream by the flowing water. While the female is preparing the rate, the pet male will be swimming around the rate and fight off intruders that are coming near. Once the rate is prepared, the female will start laying eggs or roll onto the rate. Each rate may contain up to 5,000 rolls. The male will then fertilize the rolls with his sperms, also known as milk. The female will then cover the rate full with fertilized eggs with gravel by disturbing the upstream end of the rate, and continue on to prepare the next. The female can make up to as much as 7 of rate before the roll supplies depletes. Salmon, the Pacific salmon are Simiparos species. They only produce once in their lifetime. Reproduction is costly for Pacific salmon. Transiting from ocean water to fresh water, the long migration, the obstacles they need to encounter to reach the spawning ground. All these are very taxing to the salmon physiologically. Pacific salmon concentrates all of their available resources for the spawning in the expense of their future life. All Pacific salmon dies after the spawning. Atlantic salmon are Etoparos species. They are able to reproduce more than once in their lifetime, being said that most of the Atlantic salmon still dies after spawning. Only a certain percentage transit back to the ocean and get to spawn another time. All these dead salmon was either eaten by scavengers or left in the water to decompose. The flesh of this dead salmon is white and mushy, not what we have seen when we eat in the restaurant. This is because, as mentioned, salmon expends all resources, and the red color of the flesh is being used for their physical changes and also transferring to the orange-red egg. And really, this white and mushy flesh is not enticing for human consumption. However, this decomposing salmon body is of good uses to their future generation. As their body decomposes, nutrients is fed to other living organisms in the habitat, like plankton, zooplankton, resulting a bloom in this organism population. And when the baby salmon is hatched, there will already be abundance of food for them to survive and thrive. Over the winter months, embryons develop within the eggs. Body and head start to form, and the eye begins to appear. Up to this stage, the embryo is getting all its nutrients and food inside the egg, but it also needs oxygen to grow. Once this shelter nursery becomes too limited and lacks of oxygen for the embryos, little alevin starts hatching out from the eggshell, and they start to absorb oxygen from the surrounding flowing water. Alevin still have their egg sac attached beneath them, and they are still getting their nutrients and fruit from it. All this still happens inside the gravel bed. Temperature of the environment plays a big factor on the growth rate. Once the yolk sac is exhausted, the alevin will need to start getting other food sources, which is within the stream water above them, and so they start to swim out of the gravel bed. The first thing the alevin needs to do when it comes out successfully of the gravel is to swim its way up to the surface of the water to grab for air. The air is then transferred to their swim bladder and obtain neutral buoyancy. We call them swim up fry at this point. On breaking the water surface, the fry snatches air with a sideways snapping motion of its head and swim back down. Sometimes it takes a few attempts to obtain neutral buoyancy. Once achieved, they will start to swim horizontally like normal fishes. The duration of staying in this native stream before they head downstream the ocean varies between different species. During this duration, the fry need to achieve an important task, and it is to imprint cues of the natal spawning ground into their senses in order for them to navigate back again years later when they are becoming spawning adult. Young salmon are able to detect immeasurable traces of element present in their environment, odors from the rocks, plant life, and other aquatic organisms all have an everlasting influence on the young salmon. The next destination after the fry leave the native stream is to reach the estuary. It is the mouth where freshwater and saltwater meet. They will stay in the estuary for a period of time before heading out to the vast ocean. And again, duration varies between species. This is known as smolt stage. Juvenile salmon start to change the skin to silvery color. The water in the estuary is blackish water. And again, in order for the smolt to adapt in this slightly salty water, they will need to acclimate their osmoregulatory function, which we have mentioned earlier, but now in reverse. Remember, they come from freshwater streams. Within the estuary, life is in abundance, from animals and birds to insect and microscopic organisms. This vast population of living things means abundance of food and nutrients for the smolt, also predator and danger that they might encounter. With the vast amount of food and nutrients, smolt grows rapidly. Once the salmon reaches a certain size, they are ready to migrate into the vast ocean and begins their adult life for years until the calling to spawn dawns on them and the same cycle starts again.